You know that moment when the new thing was supposed to fix everything and then the company quietly steps back from it? That's where Ram is with the Hurricane Inline 6. On paper, Hurricane was the hero. Twin-turbo I-6, 3.0 liters, big power, modern tech. It was supposed to erase the HEMI's fuel economy sins, crush the EcoBoost on towing, and give Ram a clean story for the next decade of regulations. Look at what Ram is actually doing now. They're not talking about Hurricane replaces everything anymore. They're walking back the dream, reshuffling trims, repositioning the engine, and quietly exposing a truth they absolutely do not want on a billboard. Hurricane didn't magically solve their fuel economy problem. It started a real MPG war they can't win with power numbers alone. So when I say Ram just killed the Hurricane i6, I don't mean they dragged every motor into a crusher. I mean they killed the fantasy that Hurricane was some cheat code that let them keep doing business as usual. Tonight we're going to break down why Hurricane existed in the first place, what Ram's latest moves really say about it, and how the real MPG war that starts now changes what engine you should buy, not just what name is on the valve cover. Because this isn't about inline 6 versus V8 in a vacuum. This is about who's going to pay for the next 10 years of bad fuel math, Ram or you. Why Hurricane had to exist. Start with the HEMI. Truck guys love it for a reason. Big cubes, great sound, honest torque. But in a world of tightening CO2 targets and fleet fuel standards, the HEMI had a problem. Regulators don't care how it sounds. Ram was staring down, aging 5.7-liter HEMI architecture, so real-world miles per gallon compared to downsized boosted rivals. No in-house twin-turbo gas engine to fight EcoBoost and GM's newer stuff. So Stellantis rolled out the Hurricane i6 3.0-liter twin-turbo inline 6. High compression, direct injection, modern combustion. Configurable in different tunes, standard output, high output, for trucks, SUVs, and performance stuff. The pitch was simple. We'll give you V8 or better power, with better fuel economy, and we'll keep the EPA off our backs. On a whiteboard, perfect. In marketing, perfect. On early press drives, everyone raved about torque and smoothness. But there were 3 problems baked in from day one. It's still a boosted, complex gas engine. Turbos, plumbing, high pressures, tight thermal margins. Truck owners don't drive like EPA cycles. They tow, idle, and live in heat and headwind. Everyone else is also chasing MPG, with hybrids, diesels, better gearboxes. You don't win this war in a vacuum. Hurricane wasn't entering a ring with the HEMI. It was entering a ring with EcoBoost, PowerBoost, diesel half-tons, and Toyota's hybrid turbos. What Ram just exposed with their Hurricane strategy. Ram's moves tell you more than any press release. Instead of, HEMI is dead, Hurricane for everyone, let's go. They've been selective about where Hurricane shows up first, careful with trim positioning and pricing, quiet about any big, measurable, real-world MPG win over their competition. If Hurricane were a slam dunk, you'd see wall-to-wall marketing, X% better fuel economy versus outgoing HEMI. Aggressive tow plus miles per gallon comparisons against Ford and GM. Clear, simple engine lineup where, if you tow, you obviously take Hurricane. Instead, what you're actually seeing is Ram hedging, keeping other engines alive instead of going all in. Positioning Hurricane as a premium, high-output option, not always the default. Playing up power more than honest fuel savings. That's what I mean by killed the Hurricane i6 story. They've killed the myth that this thing was going to be a simple V8 replacement you never had to think about. And that's where the real MPG war starts. Not in the press release, but in the 5-year spreadsheet. Why the real MPG war isn't about EPA stickers. Let's be blunt. EPA window stickers are borderline fiction for truck owners. You add bigger tires, toss a rack and some gear on, tow a camper a few weekends a year, sit in traffic with the AC on. None of that is in the test cycle the badge is based on. So you can't just compare HEMI, X miles per gallon city / Y miles per gallon highway. Hurricane, X plus 1 or X plus 2 miles per gallon city / Y plus 2 miles per gallon highway, and call it a win. The real MPG war is about this question. Over 5 years of how I actually drive, which engine writes me the smallest fuel and maintenance bill without blowing up or making me hate the truck? That's the fight Hurricane walked into. Let's do some example math to show you why Ram's not shouting about it from rooftops. 5-year fuel math, simple version. Say you do 15,000 miles per year, mix of commute, weekend runs, some towing, some idling, some heat. Let's compare 3 realities. Old 5.7 HEMI in a half-ton, Hurricane I-6 as specced in a modern Ram. A competitor's setup, say a Ford 3.5 EcoBoost or hybrid. Real-world combined miles per gallon. Being honest, HEMI. A lot of owners see 15 to 16 miles per gallon combined. Hurricane. Maybe 17 to 18 miles per gallon combined if you stay out of boost when you can. EcoBoost/hybrid. In normal use, 17 to 19 miles per gallon combined depending on how much you tow and how heavy your right foot is. Let's pick representative numbers. HEMI, 16 miles per gallon. Hurricane, 18 miles per gallon. Rival setup, 18.5 miles per gallon at $3.75 per gallon. HEMI at 16 miles per gallon. 15,000 divided by 16 equals 937.5 gallons per year. 937.5 times 3.75 is approximately $3,516 per year. Over 5 years, $17,580. Hurricane at 18 miles per gallon. 15,000 divided by 18 is approximately 833 gallons per year. 833 times 3.75 is approximately $3,124 per year. Over 5 years, $15,620. Competitor at 18.5 miles per gallon. 15,000 divided by 18.5 is approximately 811 gallons per year. 811 times 3.75 is approximately $3,042 per year. Over 5 years, $15,210. So, Hurricane versus HEMI. You might save around $1,960 over 5 years on fuel. Hurricane versus an 18.5 miles per gallon rival, you're still behind by about $400 over 5 years. That's not the clean we win by a mile story marketing wants. And that's before you add higher potential maintenance on a complex boosted engine, small differences in resale if the market decides Hurricane is the one to have or not. Ram clearly hoped Hurricane would give them a knockout. What they got is a technical improvement that still has to fight real-world habits, fuel prices, and competition. That's why they're not acting like this thing ended the conversation. They know the war is just starting. Quick pause. If you like getting real 5-year math instead of brochure fairy tales, hit subscribe so you don't find out about the next miracle engine from a repair bill instead of a breakdown like this. Back to it. Complexity versus payoff. What Hurricane has to prove. The other side of the war isn't just MPG, it's how much pain you take on to get it. Hurricane brings with it twin turbos, high-pressure fuel systems, tight cooling and packaging, lots of software watching knock, temps, and torque delivery. In exchange, it owes you noticeably better real-world miles per gallon than the HEMI. Strong, smooth mid-range torque for towing and passing. Competitive or better 5-year reliability versus rivals' boosted engines. If it doesn't deliver all 3, then Ram basically traded a known quantity V8 for a science project that doesn't obviously beat Ford and GM. That's why their behavior right now is cautious. Test the waters in specific models and trims. Watch how owners use them. Watch early reliability and service patterns. Adjust marketing and availability accordingly. They're not acting like a company that just solved everything. They're acting like a company that knows the MPG war will be decided over 5 to 10 years of owner data, not one press event. What this means if you're choosing an engine now. Here's the part you actually care about. If I'm shopping Ram, do I bet on Hurricane or avoid it? Think in 3 buckets. 1. You're a keep it 3 to 5 years, then trade person. Hurricane is probably fine, maybe even ideal. You get the new tech, the power, the talking point. Your big risk exposure is mostly under warranty. Any early issues are Ram's problem more than yours. Your job is to spec it with the right gearing and tow package, not just the highest trim. Keep up on oil and cooling stack cleaning so you're not stressing it for free. Pay attention to early owner forums for actual miles per gallon and any recurring issues. 2. You're a keep it 8 to 12 years, pay it off, drive it forever person. This is where the war really matters. Hurricane has to prove in the real world that it's more fuel efficient enough to matter over that horizon. not a maintenance time bomb when turbos, injectors, and everything else age. Seen as a desirable engine in the used market, not the one people avoid. If you're in this bucket, your safest move might be wait a couple of model years for Hurricane ownership data, or spec a truck that hasn't gone all in on brand new tech yet, or cross-shop a competitor whose boosted or hybrid engines already have more years in the wild. 3. You tow heavy and often. The real MPG war is nastiest here. Towing is where turbogas engines fall into enrichment, transmissions cook fluid, cooling systems earn their keep. Hurricane has to prove it can tow repeatedly without crazy fuel spikes. It doesn't cook itself or the transmission when asked to do truck things. It behaves predictably when the weather is ugly and the grades are long. If you're pulling 8 to 10,000 regularly, don't just ask, what's the tow rating and peak torque? Ask, what are real owners logging for MPG on my kind of route? Are there early patterns of heat soak, derate, or weird behavior? Because the MPG war is not one at 65 miles per hour with no load on a flat, cool day. It's one dragging a trailer in August when the dash says 102 degrees Fahrenheit. How to play this as a truck nerd, not a fanboy. Here's the blunt truth. Ram had to move past the HEMI eventually. Hurricane is a serious modern attempt to do that. But it does not give them a free pass in the MPG war. If you want to play this smart, don't buy stories. Buy track records. Wait for real data on Hurricane. Fuel logs, long-term reliability, owner reports. Compare real-world miles per gallon, not just sticker miles per gallon. Look at what people see hand-calculated, not just what the dash says. Price in complexity. More parts, higher pressures, tighter packaging equals more expensive failures if they happen. Cross-shop honestly. Put Ram's best Hurricane tune against Ford's best boosted/hybrid setup, GM's latest small block and diesel options, and do the same 5-year fuel plus maintenance thought experiment we just did. Here's the takeaway you can screenshot. HEMI was never going to survive modern fuel and emissions rules forever. Hurricane I-6 is Ram's answer. But it didn't end the MPG war. It started it. Ram's own cautious rollout and marketing prove they know it has to earn its place. For you, that means treating Hurricane not as the obvious upgrade, but as one contender in a long fight where the winner is whoever writes you the smallest 5-year bill. Fuel, maintenance, and headaches included. Ram may have killed the myth of Hurricane as a magic bullet. The real question now is whether this engine can win the actual MPG war that starts the second you sign the papers and start paying for every gallon yourself.